Former President Donald Trump was indicted for the fourth time, this time in Georgia, on Monday night, along with 18 others who authorities say were involved in illegal efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election in the state. Who are the 19 people indicted in the Georgia case? Former President Donald Trump. The 13 counts against Trump include violating the Georgia RICO Act, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer, conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer, conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, conspiracy to commit false statements and writings, conspiracy to commit filing false documents, conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, filing false documents, and solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer. Former Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani, one of Trump's most vocal allies in his push to legally challenge election results across the country, was also indicted on multiple charges, including RICO charges. Lawyer John Eastman. Eastman, a Trump-friendly attorney, reportedly pressed for certain states to appoint alternate elector slates in order to help resolve disputed slates presented to Pence, the Senate president at the time of the January 6 tally. Former Trump Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Meadows served as Trump's chief of staff during the last days of his presidency and was allegedly warned about the possibility of violence ahead of the January 6 Capitol protests. Former Trump campaign attorney Kenneth Cassebro. Cassebro was described in special counsel Jack Smith's earlier indictment as an attorney who assisted in devising and attempting to implement a plan to submit fraudulent slates of presidential electors to obstruct the certification proceeding. Former Justice Department official Jeffrey Clark. Clark served as acting assistant attorney general for the Civil Division during Trump's final months in office. Colleagues have testified he was a true believer that the 2020 election had been stolen, according to NBC News. Former member of Trump legal team Jenna Ellis. Ellis, a former senior legal advisor to the Trump 2020 campaign, participated in Trump's many legal challenges to various election results. Lawyer Ray Smith III. Smith represented Trump in his 2020 election challenges in Georgia and asked Georgia lawmakers to vacate election results. Lawyer Robert Cheeley. Cheeley, a lawyer based in Atlanta, assisted the Trump campaign in presenting evidence it said showed voting inconsistencies and irregularities in Georgia, New York Times reported. Ex-Trump staffer Michael Roman. Roman is a Republican operative who once served as an elected ward leader in Philadelphia, according to Inquirer. David Schaefer. Schaefer is the former chairman of the Georgia Republican Party who accused Fulton County officials of improperly handling the election process. State. Senator Sean Still. Still, who currently serves as a Republican in the Georgia Senate, was one of the alternate electors who participated in the alleged plot to overturn election results. He was subpoenaed by the January 6 committee. Illinois Police Chaplain Stephen Lee. Lee, who currently leads a suburban Chicago Lutheran church, was allegedly involved in efforts to pressure poll workers in Georgia into claiming election fraud, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported. Harrison Floyd, executive director of Black Voices for Trump. Floyd was allegedly involved in efforts to pressure poll workers into promoting fraud allegations, also according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Publicist Trevian Kutti. Kutti, a Chicago-based publicist who represented Kanye West, is said to have traveled to the home of a frightened Georgia election worker who was facing death threats after being falsely accused of manipulating votes by Trump, Reuters reported. Former Trump legal team member Sidney Powell. Powell, a former federal prosecutor, was one of the most vocal attorneys in Trump's circle pushing election fraud claims. Former Coffee County Republican Party in Georgia chairwoman Kathy Latham. Latham, a former school teacher, is accused of helping Trump's team gain access to county voting systems, CNN reported. Scott Hall. Hall, a 2020 Fulton County Republican poll watcher, is a bail bondsman from the Atlanta area who is alleged to have helped Trump allies access voting equipment, the New York Times reported. Misty Hampton. Hampton is a former election supervisor of Coffee County, Georgia, who is also suspected of helping Trump supporters access voting equipment.